Yo, we're gonna just jump right into it. This is chart check with tech. Um, I've been away for a minute, but I'm back, and I'm gonna do my chart analysis. I got about 6 pairs that I look at on a weekly basis, so that's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna get started right now. So let's get that. Let's get the room. I literally just created the stream right now, and I sent out a link to a few people just to make sure that I want to know that all the mic and all that stuff is working, because sometimes it be what it be. So that's the horn right there. J to the is A. But yo, if you pop in the room, let me know how your trading journey is going. If you're a trader, let me know how your crypto journey is going. Let me know how you're just doing in general. But I saw it go. So anyways, let's see. I'm gonna pull up my charts and see what's going on. But yeah, jump in the room, anyone. This is a random. I just got up this morning. I'm like, all right, I have a few charts. I did a few charts last night, and I have about like 4 more to go. So let's just do it. Let me just see. I'm gonna wait a bit and see if anyone wants to jump in the room while I do this. In case you got any questions, Tay. Okay, I'll give it like about 3 minutes. Let's see, a few groups on here. Let me know if you hear the music too. That's one thing I can never really. Actually, you know what? Check from my phone. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna send the link to myself so I can do it on. It's there, but you know what? It might be too loud. I think that's what the issue is. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right, enough games. We're going into the charts right now. Enough games. Let's see, streamer. Where's my chart? Where's my chart? There you go. There we go. All right, cool. So this is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's about to, well, it looks like it's about to break out above this level right here, and I have a target here, but I'm not doing this for Bitcoin right now. That will do what it does when it's ready, but it does look like it's about to break out. You see right here, it's getting a retest right here above this level. This level right here. So you can see we got one. Let me take off this magnet. We got one tap right there, one tap right there, and you got another tap right there. So there's some, this was all resistance right here. So now it's building a support and it's above this trend line. You see this body coming through the trend line right here. This is how you sometimes get faked out. Like if you don't go up a higher time frame, because basically like if you're running a trend line, right? This is going to be visible on the 4-hour, right? I'm running it from the wick. All of this wick stuff is noise. But you see, look, when I go to this time frame now, you don't see the body going through the trend line no more. It's under, right? That's all you need to know. So you have to keep on flipping back, and like if you're a person that's going to trade multiple time frames, you have to flip back and forth to see if the principles are being followed, because all of the things that you do when it comes to trading, there's principles, but the problem is a lot of people don't teach the actual principles. They make everything seem like it's subjective, and a lot of things are actually not. And I didn't want to get into trading, and if I thought everything didn't have any rules, there has to be some type of rules, or I just wouldn't do it. So the more and more I dig for information, I found out that there actually is rules. Some people trade subjectively, and they have really good risk management. They never need to actually use concrete rules. I need rules. So that's how I figured out some of these things, and it's definitely made things better. So anyways, like I said, you see the body going through here, that's a violation of the trend line. But when you go up another time frame, this is all just noise, and we're keeping a higher time frame perspective anyways, so we don't need to worry about all of that. Anyways, so this is finding support right here, and you have this area that was resistance flipped into support. We're gonna move off of Bitcoin though, because what we're really doing is I already did my markup for the pound US dollar. So I have this target right here, negative 61.8. So what I'm thinking is that when we open up Sunday, Monday, by Tuesday at least, probably before that, I believe we're going to hit this target right here. And I'll go over my reasoning for that. That move started from down here, right? So let me just move this. That move started from down here. We ended off the week. I'll show you the move that I caught. First of all, let's start there. I think it was on the 1 hour. Okay. So we have a rising wedge, right? And I'm like, Some people trade divergence, some people don't. I like it. So basically you see the higher highs, higher, like you pretty much see this. I haven't done this in a while, so let me just get to the tools that I'm used to using. I don't usually use this one for that. I use this one. Yeah, there's easier to see on camera. So right here you see, oh yeah, feel free to message me in the chat if there's anything that you have a question about. So anyways, you have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. You don't need to catch every single one, just the main basics. You see how like these levels that are supported, you definitely want to catch that. Anyways, you see this series of higher highs, higher lows, but when you look on the RSI down here, from this area right here, which was about the top here, it was heading down. So that means that the momentum to the upside was getting weak, and we're in a rising wedge pattern. So usually when you're in a rising wedge pattern, it breaks to the downside. Okay, cool. So I know that already. So what I did was that being said, go down to a lower time frame. So I went down for this one, I went down to the 15-minute because I wanted to see if I could catch a move at least down to like a support area, which was this area at the time. So you see here I put is this a level H? Yeah, so this is my 4 hour. So I went to the 4 hour. Let me reset this. Yeah, here. I went to the 4 hour and we created this level right here. So I wanted to see if we we're going to come down and respect this level. Now, I know what you're thinking. You see, and I actually got caught a bit before I got out of this trade to back that was going back up, right? So you see here, it's a break of structure, but at the same time, if you go up a time frame, which you should always go up a time frame, this is all bullish. It just keeps going up. So I only could catch that small move, and I'll show you what happens. So then come up here and we hit this level here and we got this pattern. I don't know if you can see it, but head and shoulders. So you can see here, here's the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then we actually broke down underneath that, which was out of the channel. See over here, the channel was holding all the way. Nothing came out of this channel until we had that move here that came outside. So I just waited for let me see, is it this level here? Yeah, I just waited for this level here to be broken. See, you can't, see, sometimes you have to like zoom in because you can't like, okay, let me show you. So this level here was what I was waiting for. I wanted to see if the body would get broken. As you see, it broke right here. So then what I waited for was price to come back up to this level here. And then I caught the sell all the way back down to that level that I had in blue. So the trade was pretty much from up here. No, actually, no, I didn't get in here. I waited when, okay, so this level broke here and came back up, and I didn't catch it from right here. I waited till it came back under and then retested this level here. So pretty much this level here got retested with the wick here, and I jumped in right here, and then I caught, so the trade was from up there all the way back down to blue. This was TP, right? So that was actually a really good trade. this stuff is like you have to like see it multiple times, multiple times before you can catch it. And the other indication, so there's confluences, right? You can't just say, okay, I see a head and shoulders here and then jump in a trade. So one thing I had, I could put all the different things that I seen when I took that trade. So one, we had break of structure, because you have to have multiple confluences, right? That was this move here that I showed you. When we had this break here, where I just drew this arrow, that was the break of structure. I don't want to put another note. Okay, so back here. And then the second thing that I seen was the rising wedge. So rising wedge. You have, when you create your own trading plan, you have to have, that's when you start building like multiple different confluences that you see that make you want to get into a trade. So that was the rising wedge. Then we had divergence. So that was what I mentioned earlier, where the RSI is showing the price going down, but we're going up at the same time. So that's just showing that RSI is a momentum indicator. So it's showing you that the momentum to the upside is like weakening. So that it's possible that price can just go sideways or it can break down. I'm also looking at when this actually broke down under here. Look at the EMA. The EMA was coming across here. The EMA is like average of price, right? So the average of price is above this. See, as this is going up, it's staying above. But then when it broke down, it's under the EMA, right? So I have this zone, and at the zone, it comes back up, and it's showing. Okay, so when price is bearish, so if the price structure breaks and you're underneath the EMA, if you start getting wicks at a zone, that's just showing a rejection of price. If the structure is bullish and you're like, if the structure is bullish, I'm not going to go over like all of market structure here, but if you're in a bullish structure and you get a wick, it's exhaustion. So the price is exhausted, but it doesn't mean that price is going to just go the other way. It means that, because that's how you get a wick fill. When it's in the direction that price wants to go and you get a wick fill, the wicks are just exhaustion. So yeah, it shows that there's sellers still in the market, but at the same time, it could come back up and fill that. Now in this scenario, if price broke down, as I showed you right here. So now when I see wicks, I'm looking at it as a rejection, and it's under the EMA. So that was another thing. Candlestick rejection at zone, right? So that's already 4 things that I see right there. Oh yeah, and then I said head and shoulders. So pattern, I just say pattern. Like, and then you develop your own checklist. So I already seen 5 different things that told me that this was going to this level down here. And then the other thing is, so now when price finally gets there, I can run a fib. I don't remember if this fib went all the way down there, and sometimes it doesn't have to, but in this case, I ran the fib from here, and it came back to 38.2. So that means negative 27 is, so if you look at this, okay, I don't know if this is even dark enough. If you know, you guys can't see that. I want to see if I can get a, can you see that? I don't know. Major fib, how about that? I'll create more fibs for going online, for going live, but you run the fib from the top, the 100%, and then the 0 is where you have the swing point, which was, this is where the price broke down. So now when it came back up, it hit the 38.2 retracement level, which the target is going to be negative 27 down here. So why didn't I just take right here? I could have, but this is the thing. When you have, especially like a supply and demand zone, zones are like magnets for price. And also, if you can see this trend line that I ran from here, look where it ended up, right? So I could have taken it right here. This would have been the safe exit right here, but I know from just experience, a little bit of experience, like, you know, this, when you have a zone, it acts like a magnet. So it actually pulled the price all the way down to this level and then got me out of the trade. But I had these 5 confluences when this was happening. So I stayed in the trade and that one played out. And at the end of the day, even if you take other trades, like for example, when this trade started going back up, I wanted to get in for another sell, but then I forgot to check this, which I didn't go up a time frame to see how bullish the overall price is. Because if you don't check that and see that there's like, if I seen like a red candle in here, okay, I could have looked for another sell down, because I wanted to, if you see event, originally I wanted it to come down to here, retest this before going back up. But you see my arrows going back up, this overall trend line. This is actually a weekly trend line that I'm looking to tap into. First, I'm looking to get to this level, and then if it breaks this level, I'm looking to go up to this level. And coincidentally, I ran a fib from the bottom here. This is a 4-hour fib. So from this level right here, yeah, from here, this was the 100. So when you run a fib, you have to have an A to B. So A to B is this level here up to the 0, and then you have to see how far price retraces, which it retraced all the way down to this zone. And this, if it's past 61.8, then the target is negative 61.8, which coincidentally aligns with this trend line, which is why I want to take, eventually I want price to come all the way up to this trend line here. Now, it's most likely going to do that, but along the way, price is going to go up and down all around and try to fake you out. So that's where the analysis and taking everything step by step is going to come into place. So that being said, I'll just a recap of my analysis, that what I'm looking for in the short term is price to come up to this 5 right here, this 5th wave, which is at negative 61.8. And there's a lot of momentum for it to do that. So I'm looking for maybe what will happen is I'll get some like retrace into here, and then I don't know how it's going to happen, but something might happen and I might get here. So I'm going to wait on Sunday or maybe Sunday night into Monday to see what price does, because usually the market might open with a gap. So if it gaps down, then I might be looking for an entry. If it gaps up, I might look for it to do the retrace and then get a bounce before, like, might look for it, if it gaps up, I might look for it to come back down and then finally get up to this level right here. So anyways, that's my analysis on the pound US dollar. I marked up this pair as well, which is the pound yen. And similar thing, because the pound itself is a bit bullish right now. Like this one bounced off this zone right here, a daily demand zone. And then you see this crazy bullish candle right here. So usually the price moves in 3 waves. So it's impulse, correction, continuation. So this is an impulse right here, right off of this demand zone, and this is a daily demand zone. So I know that there's a lot of momentum in this movement right here. Comes back down and it's in this triangle pattern here, and I'm anticipating that at some point it's going to break above this, because usually price moves from zone to zone. You know, I have a lot of reasons of why I believe it's going to go to this level. Like I said, again, stacking confluences. Even if you look at this here, you can kind of see it's kind of ugly, but at the same time you have a bit like this right here. If you can see, it's kind of like there's a wick that goes all the way up here. So from here you kind of have a head and shoulders right here, but it's in a triangle. So now, and it's getting smaller, and we're making higher lows, right? So that's what I'm paying attention to. We're making all of these higher lows. So if we can break out and then finally get here, that would be the move, right? So yeah, there's a resistance. This is like where the weekly area was, the weekly high, and then there's all the daily lows are roughly in the same place. So from experience, a bit like when I see like all the daily levels all lining up at this roughly the same height, and then the weekly is not far off, I'm looking for price to break above that, because that's where that's a lot of liquidity that's resting above this diagonal resistance here, and usually price moves towards liquidity. So if price breaks above here, it'll wipe out all this liquidity, come back and retest here, because if you see when price was up here, it broke down. Usually it retests, like this is not a little baby retest, but it should come in here and actually retest this area, especially after already hitting this zone at the bottom. It moves from zone to zone, so usually it would come back and like retest this area right here. So anyways, I'm looking for some type of break above this diagonal resistance and then a retest to take price all the way back up to this zone. So that's my analysis for, and then plus I also did a measured move because eventually I want to see price break this and come all the way back up to this resistance here that you can see better on a higher time frame. This resistance right here, this blue line. And when you do a measured, I don't know, like, see, the thing is, if you learn different disciplines, then you can kind of use them in your trading strategy, right? So I know that when you have a head and shoulders, you can do a measured move. So look how crazy this is, right? I showed that this was the, like, from the head to the neck, usually you measure it, which is this line that I put here. And then when you extend it to where the breakout is, it should line up with a zone. So look how that lines up perfectly with this zone, which is why I'm like, okay, this makes sense. And then also if you run a fib from the bottom, which is this blue fib here, the 61.8, like it retraced to 61.8, so the target should be negative 61.8, and that lines up perfectly with this weekly trend line. Like it literally lines up directly with this weekly trend line. So I know that we're gonna get some resistance when we get to this zone, which is why the trade's only to here. If we do break it, then I would be looking for a price to come up here. But if I take a trade, I'm only looking for it to get to, first of all, this 61.8. I would probably take profit here, but if we have a lot of momentum, I'd be looking to exit at this zone based off of this big move here, this impulse, and then you have the correction down. I wonder if I use black, will it show up better? I think it does. I'm gonna use black. Yeah. So we have this impulse, correction, and then the continuation up to this level here. So that would be the move that I'm looking for. But I might exit early right here, and then if it retraces again, then look for another setup to take it to this level here. If it breaks that, then I'm looking for it to go up to this level here. So that's what's up. Anyways, that's the pound yen. Now here's one that I didn't do yet, which is the ones that I want to do on this live. I want to go through the NAS 100 and the US 30. So I have my own markup. My own markup plan. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right, I'm back. I had to wipe the camera. I was like, why does it look so foggy? But anyways, dealt with that. All good. 10 times more. Thousand times more clear. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so we start off on the weekly. I have my own, what I meant to say right before I paused it was I have my own plan for risk management. I have a plan for how I mark up the charts. I have a plan for how I trade. Like, you have to make a plan for everything. Before I used to think that, okay, I could just make this one loose, kind of like it didn't even have that much details, like some type of trading plan, thinking that it was sweet, but like, nah, you need to have a plan for everything that you do, because the only way to get to a point where more consistent and progressively getting more consistent is to have rules for everything. That's my opinion. Everyone has their own thing. So anyways, I start off on the weekly and I'm looking for direction. So I want to see if the weekly is still bullish. I have some older videos that you've probably seen where how I check the weekly. Just off of looking right now, I can tell weekly is bearish. And I know I have a lot of stuff happening right here, but I'll show you why it's bearish. Weekly is bearish. So that's all you need to know right here. You have this level, which is the last higher low, and it was broken. Can't have a lower low without a lower high, so this becomes the lower high. I wonder if I still have those bubbles that I made. I think these are. Look, see, lower high, and then lower low. So, and then you have this right here is the break of structure. Do I have this program? Okay, but I can write in this, I believe. Yeah. So this is the break of structure right here. So then I know that the weekly is bearish. So what I have programmed in here is lower high right here, as you can see, and then lower low, the price is right now. So I know that the weekly is bearish, and you can see that the weekly is bearish. You see this red candle. This is the last candle, and it's the leg right now is down, and it's yeah, it's just on a bearish leg. So then I'm gonna go to the daily now. See what the daily is doing. I have this trend line coming up here that was broken. But I also have to pay attention to here. So I have a demand zone down here. If you see, if I go on the weekly, I'll show you. So you have this area that was resistance, and then it flipped into support here, and it was able to take the price all the way up there, right? So from here there was momentum to go up. So I knew that, okay, is price gonna return to this area, which it did. It didn't break it though. So this is where you have to have some caution, because you got to see, and also you can see this is a weekly trend line here too. Look right here, bounce, we got a bounce right here, right? And I believe this can go all, maybe it doesn't. Oh, here, yeah, this trend line right here, this trend right here is, I wonder if it gets there. Not quite. Like some of these trends have been going on. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that where it was before. Don't need to do all that. There we go. This trend right here is in line with this demand zone here on the weekly. So if it breaks this, and then we get a retest, then the next level down is here. But for now, we're just focused on this level right here because it hasn't broken yet, right? So anyways, back to what the daily is doing. So we know that the weekly is bearish. The daily is let me just zoom in to see where it's at. This level right here, which is already marked up. So the daily is bearish. There's the lower high, and the lower low is all the way down here. So nothing has changed. Price came up, and that's why I have this supply zone. So I talked about demand, but when you're to the upside, if you have a level that's holding, which is, this is where the daily goes bearish from right here, price came up and never broke the high, and then it started breaking back down, which on a higher time frame, this is also that red candle that we saw. So daily is bearish, right? And then I go down to the 4 hour. I want to know what the 4 hour is doing, right? So we had this push down here, a few levels in there, and then price broke up here, went bullish, and that's pushes from here. So this is where the 4 hour demand is right here. And we're just consolidating on this line right here. This was the so far it's not technically higher low yet unless we make a higher high. So that's why I'm only focused on here. This right here is, it came up and it hit this diagonal resistance, this purple line on the 4 hour. Let me get rid of this. So in order for me to be interested in a trade here, let me get rid of, move this stuff up side. I don't need this trend line. Sometimes you draw trend lines and they're valid at the time, and then they're not valid anymore. So this is a sideways consolidation. I'm looking for either price to break. Like, let me get rid of, I can get rid of this. All of this stuff is from last week. I don't really need this stuff right now. All I need to know is that this level is right here. We made a higher low. So we can either see price go above this and then maybe try to make its way up to here, or I'd have to scale down. This is the 4-hour time frame. One sec. All right, I just did the NAS 100 breakdown, and I'm gonna leave it there for a while. I might come back on later and do another live session to do the US 30, and also the Euro Swiss franc. I'll do the markups for those, and then we'll go from there. I got some things I gotta attend to, so But yeah, that was my markup for well, I showed you what happened with the pound US dollar, pound yen, and also I did the NAS 100 markup. So that's what I'm looking for. And yeah, we will check in again on Sunday, maybe when the market opens, or maybe London session um, on Sunday into Monday, and then see how the market is playing out. But that's what I'm doing for now. So this has been Chart Check. Let me go back to the main screen. So yeah, that's Chart Check with Tech. I'm gonna get back on doing these lives. I took a break and I learned a lot more with trading. So now I can share more, and we're just gonna keep the vibe going and tune in. But usually I'll probably just post the time and the day that I'm gonna go live, maybe a day before or maybe a week before, or just keep something that's I'll figure it out. I want it to be more consistent, so that's what's up. Keep trading, and